My beloved child, if you pass by this loving call today, tomorrow you may grieve because you were one step too late. My beloved child, do not pass over these words as you would pass over a fallen leaf outside your door. For there are moments I send to you that do not return in exactly the same form. It is not because my love has run dry or because I have closed the door of mercy before you, but because today stands before you with an open hand, while tomorrow may wear a different face. You often think that you still have time to apologize, to embrace a loved one, to forgive an old wound, to return to prayer, or to be gentler with yourself. You say, "Tomorrow I will do it," but do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what tomorrow will bring. As the book of Proverbs reminds you, I do not call you with an alarmed voice, nor do I push you forward with fear. I simply say this: do not miss the good thing that longs to be born within you today. Do not let a word of love wait until the one who needs to hear it is no longer beside you. Do not let the light I have just kindled in your heart be covered over by the many times you tell yourself, "I will deal with it tomorrow." There are mornings when you wake up and the room is the same. The sky is the same. The tasks are still lined up at the doorway of your mind, and you think it is only an ordinary day. But to me, no day is ordinary, because every day you are still breathing is a page that has not been folded shut, a seed that has not been buried, an opportunity for you to become softer, more truthful, and closer to me. Perhaps today I do not place in your hands a great miracle that everyone can see. Perhaps I simply place before your eyes your mother's tired face, a phone call you have postponed, a coworker who quietly needs someone to ask how they are, a child who wants to be heard, or the exhaustion in your own soul that you have tried to hide for so long. Those small things are not small in my eyes. A mustard seed is small, yet Jesus used it to speak of the kingdom of heaven. A gentle gesture, a meal shared without rushing, a sincere message, or a silent prayer can sometimes be the very door through which I enter the dark places of someone's life. Therefore, when your heart is touched by goodness, do not quickly set it aside. The Apostle James said, "Anyone who knows the good they ought to do and does not do it." Son, those words are not meant to condemn you, but to awaken you from the habit of postponing what is beautiful. I know that you are tired. There are days when you delay things, not because you do not care, but because you are carrying too many burdens: money, the future, an illness, a distant relationship, or old mistakes that keep returning in the night. I see it all. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. The Psalms say, "I do not blame you for being exhausted. I simply do not want you to keep building your home in sorrow. You may rest in order to recover, and you may cry so that your heart becomes lighter. But do not give up. I am not telling you to keep pace with everyone else. I am only inviting you to take one very small step toward the light you know is right. Remember Samuel when he was still a child in the tabernacle. In the quiet of the night, he heard a voice calling him, yet he did not understand where it came from. He ran to Eli and said, "You called me." But Eli had not called him. After several times, Eli understood that it was I who was calling the boy. So he taught him to answer, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." My child, not every call from me comes like thunder upon a mountain. Many times I call you through a very gentle uneasiness, through a thought that keeps returning, through a desire to live differently that you continue to ignore. I call you when you know it is time to lay down a habit that is slowly withering you. I call you when you realize that a relationship needs to be healed through honesty. I call you when you see a stranger in need of your compassion. I call you when you stand before a choice between what is easy and what is right. And I do not need you to answer with beautiful words. I only need a heart that knows how to pause, how to listen, and how to say, Lord, here I am. Do not ignore that call simply because you cannot yet see the whole road ahead. Samuel did not know his future that night, but he opened his heart, and from one small answer, his whole life was guided in the light. Perhaps you fear that if you answer today, you will have to change too much. You are afraid to leave what is familiar. You fear that apologizing will make you weak, that forgiving will make the wound feel more real, or that praying will force you to face what you have been avoiding. But I never call you in order to break you apart. I call you to gather the pieces of yourself that you have lost along the way. I do not demand that you become perfect before you come near me. Jesus himself told of the father who ran out to welcome his lost son home while the son was still far away. The father did not stand at the gate and read out every accusation. He did not wait for his son to wash himself clean, earn enough money, or prove himself worthy. He ran to him, embraced him, kissed him, and clothed him in a new robe. That is my heart toward you. Yet the prodigal son still had to rise. He had to leave the pigsty, leave the hunger, and leave behind the lie that he was no longer worthy to be called a son. Grace always opens the door, but love also invites you to step across its threshold. Today, even if it is only through a short prayer, a phone call, a decision to turn away from what causes you to fall, or a moment of restraint before speaking words that would hurt someone, rise up. I will meet you on the way. Do not think that slowing down to return to me is a waste of time. The world may tell you that you must always stay busy, always prove your worth, run faster than others, and fill every empty space with noise. But your soul was not created to live forever in noise. There are times when I lead you beside still waters so that you may remember who you are. Be still and know that I am God. The psalm says, it is not a cold command, it is my lullaby for a mind that has grown too weary. When you become still, you will realize that not every thought in your mind is the truth. You will realize that you are not defined by your most recent failure, not measured by the number of people who praise you, and not abandoned merely because someone has left. You are a creation I know, a creation I love, a person I call by name, and in that silence, you may hear again the gentle voice that life has drowned out. You can still begin again. You can still make things right. You can still love. You can still become a source of comfort for others. I want to tell you about the Good Samaritan. On the road from Jerusalem down to Jericho, a man was attacked by robbers and left half dead. A priest passed by. A Levite passed by. Perhaps they both had their reasons, their schedules, and tasks they believed were important. But the Samaritan, a man who was often despised, stopped. He did not wait until it was more convenient. He did not tell himself that he would return later. He bent down, bound the stranger's wounds, placed him on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and cared for him. My child, sometimes what I await from you is not a great achievement that makes the world applaud. I am simply waiting for you to stop before a pain that many others have passed by. Someone needs to be heard. Someone is in need. Someone irritates you but is hurting more deeply than you realize. Someone in your home is silent because they do not know how to speak. Do not say that you cannot save the whole world. I am not asking you to do that. Save the moment I place in your hands. Be someone who knows how to stop. Love is not always a burning emotion. Often, it is the decision not to walk past a person who needs you. You may be hearing these words while your heart is full of regret. There may be something you missed, someone you did not reach in time, words you never spoke, or an opportunity you allowed to slip away. I do not want you to use the past to beat yourself into exhaustion. Regret becomes holy only when it leads you toward love, not when it locks you inside the prison of self-blame. Peter once denied Jesus 3 times. When the rooster crowed, he wept bitterly. But his story did not end in the courtyard of the high priest. After the resurrection, by the shore of the lake, Jesus did not ask Peter, "Why did you fail?" He asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" Then he entrusted him with the care of his sheep. You see, I do not turn your mistakes into chains. I can turn repentant tears into water that nourishes a new life. You cannot return to yesterday and change everything, but you can allow today to become the answer to what you regret. Do the next right thing. Speak the next kind word. Take the next step back toward me. That is how I heal time within you. It may also be that the person you most need to forgive is yourself. You have carried within you a long list of your failures, as though condemning yourself would somehow please me. But I do not delight when you call yourself worthless, a burden, or someone without hope. I did not create you so that you would speak to yourself with words I would never speak over you. You need to take responsibility for what you have done. Repair what can be repaired, and learn from your stumbles. But you do not need to bury yourself beneath the ground. Look at Mary Magdalene beside the tomb while the morning was still dim. She wept because she thought the Lord's body had been taken away. When Jesus called her name, Mary, her despair turned into recognition. My child, I call your name as well, not to remind you of the old mud you have walked through, but to bring you out of it. A person called by name in love will find the courage to rise again. Therefore, do not ignore my words today merely because you think you are unworthy. It is when you feel least worthy that you most need to remember that my love is not a reward for the perfect. It is a place of healing for those who know how to return. You ask me, then what if I have already passed by these words today? I answer, you are still hearing them. So today has not yet closed. I am not the one who uses a single misstep to take hope away from you. But do not turn that kindness into a reason to delay forever. I am not threatening that I will not wait for you. I am reminding you that love must be chosen while it is calling. There are good things you can always begin again. But there are beautiful moments that pass only once. A child has only one childhood. A father or mother has only one season with you in the form they have today. A thank you spoken in time can become a blanket covering an entire cold night. A phone call made in time can save someone from feeling forgotten. One moment in which you refuse to speak harshly can prevent a deeper fracture. These are not small things. They are seeds of eternity planted in time. Therefore, do not let the title of your life be later. Do not live by saying, when things are better, I will pray. When I am less busy, I will care. When they apologize first, I will open my heart. When I become good enough, I will begin. When I stop being afraid, I will obey. My child, courage often does not come before the step. Courage is born while you are walking. David did not see every victory of his life when he faced Goliath. He only knew that he was not alone, and he used the small thing already in his hand. Moses also said that he did not know how to speak, yet I still led him forward. The woman who touched the hem of Jesus' garment had no guaranteed promise except her trembling faith, but she reached out her hand. You do not need to wait until your life has no more storms before returning to me. Return to me in the middle of the storm. Bring me your small loaf of bread, your small fish, your small tears, and your small faith in my hands. Nothing small that is offered in love is ever meaningless. Now, I do not want you to leave with a heart weighed down by commands. I want you to leave with a lamp. That lamp may be the decision to call someone today. It may be choosing to sit down and eat with your family, without bringing your hurry to the table. It may be clearing a corner of your room or a corner of your heart so that you can begin again. It may be finding someone trustworthy and speaking about the pain you have been hiding. It may be forgiving yourself or offering an apology with humility. It may simply be kneeling down or sitting still and saying, "Lord, lead me through this day." Do not despise the little lamp. Light does not need to make noise in order to drive away darkness. Remember my words in Jeremiah, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope." You are not called to live in fear. You are called to live awake, to love while you can still love, to do good while your hands can still do it, and to receive grace while your heart can still be moved. And when the sun sets today, I will not ask how many things you completed that made the world admire you. I will look at where you truly loved, where you were honest, and where you did not ignore the gentle invitation of mercy. Perhaps you took only one step, but one step toward the light is still one step away from darkness. Perhaps you are still trembling, but a trembling hand that takes hold of mine is still a courageous hand. Perhaps you still have many questions, but a heart that knows how to seek is no longer completely lost. Therefore, my beloved child, do not let today pass as though it carries no meaning. Do not pass by this loving call and tell yourself that tomorrow will bring another chance. I am still here, not to frighten you, but to awaken within you the very best that is in you. I am still knocking, not to invade, but to sit with you, to heal with you, and to lead you step by step. Open your heart. Return to me. Do the first good thing you know you need to do. And when you take even one very small step, you will realize I have been beside you on that road for a long time. And because I have been beside you on that road for so long, do not fear that your steps are too slow and will cause me to turn away from you. I do not love you in the way the world often loves, only rejoicing when you are strong, only staying when you succeed, only calling you precious when you bring back things that make others admire you. I know the days when you force yourself to smile in order to hide a heart that is slowly wearing away. I know there are nights when you lie still in the darkness, looking up at the ceiling, your heart filled with questions. You dare not speak to anyone. You wonder whether your life is going in the right direction, whether your silent prayers are being heard, and whether the things you have lost can ever be found again. But, my beloved child, some answers do not come through thunder. They come through the peace that quietly enters your heart after you have cried. Some doors do not open the moment you knock because I am still holding you back to teach you something more precious than the gift you asked for. Some paths I do not allow you to enter are not withheld because I want to take joy from you, but because I see ahead a cliff your eyes have not yet noticed. You often see only what you want in the present moment, while I see the whole winter beyond the field you are longing to cross. You see a door closed and think that I have forgotten you, but sometimes that door is closed to protect you from a room that does not belong to your soul. You see someone leave and think that you are not good enough, but sometimes that departure is my way of making room for you to learn again what it means to be loved in truth. You see an unfulfilled dream and blame yourself for being too slow, too weak, or too inadequate. But I see the seed beneath the soil, quietly cracking open. No one sees the movement of a seed when it begins to live again, yet it is alive. No one hears the roots of a tree reaching deep into the earth, yet those roots are what keep the tree standing when strong winds come. You are the same. There are seasons when I do not give you flowers because I am giving you roots. There are days when I do not give you an answer because I am teaching you to remain in faith. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. The prophet Isaiah once declared to shine light upon weary souls such as yours. You do not need to understand everything right now. You only need not to let go of my hand while you do not understand. Therefore, when tomorrow comes and you are still carrying unfinished things in your heart, do not condemn yourself. Wake with a soul that is softer than it was yesterday. Look at the light entering through the crack in the window. Look at a leaf gently trembling in the wind. Look at your hands that can still hold another hand. And understand that I have not stopped writing your story. Every morning is a reminder that you have not been left behind. Every heartbeat is evidence that hope is still working within you. I do not require you to accomplish something extraordinary all at once. I only want you to be faithful with the small thing I place before you. Answer the message you have left unanswered for too long. Tell your mother that you love her. Apologize to the person you hurt, even though your pride still wants to pull you back. Drink a sip of water. Rest. And care for the body I have given you. Stop calling yourself cruel names. Pray. Even when you do not know what to say beyond. I am so tired. A prayer like that is enough to make me draw closer to you. Because I do not need perfect words. I only need a true heart. Do not think that I only listen to you in sacred places. When you stand in a quiet church, when music rises and your heart suddenly becomes tender, I hear you in a kitchen full of dishes, on a crowded journey, during a short break at work, and in the moment when you stand before a mirror and no longer recognize yourself. I am in the sigh you try to hide, in the tears you quickly wipe away, and in the smile you offer others, even while your own heart feels heavy. I am not far from you like a star at the edge of the sky. I am closer than your breath, closer than the things you continue to fear. When you lower your head in shame, I do not stand above you to judge. I bend down, lift your face, and remind you that my eyes have never looked upon you with contempt. You may have been disappointed in yourself, but I have never given up on you. You may have wandered, but I still see your footprints. You may be so tired that you no longer know the way home, but I still know the way to you. There will also be times when you meet someone who makes your heart feel heavier. Perhaps it is someone who hurt you. Perhaps it is someone who does not understand you, who constantly judges you, or who left a wound in your life so deep that even remembering it now makes your heart ache. I am not telling you to pretend that nothing ever happened. I am not asking you to call what is wrong right, nor do I want you to allow others to keep hurting you in the name of forgiveness. But I want you to understand that forgiveness is not handing a weapon back to the person who wounded you. Forgiveness is laying that weapon down from your own heart, so that you no longer have to fight the ghost of the past every day. When you forgive, you are not saying that the wound did not matter. You are simply saying that the wound will not be allowed to determine your entire future. Forgive one another, as God has forgiven you. Those words do not command you to forget. They teach you not to let bitterness become the house in which you must live for the rest of your life. Perhaps you will need time to do that. I know. I do not force a hurting heart to heal overnight. Even an olive tree needs many years to grow deep roots and bear fruit. Deep wounds are the same. But while you wait to be healed, do not allow pain to teach you to become cold. Do not believe that everyone will betray you simply because one person betrayed you. Do not believe that you are unworthy of love because of one cruel word. Do not think your life has only darkness left because one door has closed. There are people who will come into your life not to take away your peace, but to remind you that kindness still exists in this world. There are meetings I prepare in silence, so that at the very moment you think you no longer need anyone, a hand will appear and say, "You do not have to walk alone." Leave a small opening in your heart for the light to enter. Let gentleness remain alive within you. Do not let love die simply because you have once been wounded. I also want you to remember that you do not need to run away from moments of silence. Many people fear silence because, in silence, they hear the voice of their own hearts. They hear again what they have lost. what has been left unsaid, dreams that were forgotten, and wounds that have not yet healed. So they fill their days with sound, with rushing, and with conversations that never touch the soul. But I say to you, do not fear the quiet. It is in the quiet that I often place within your heart seeds that the noisy world cannot bring. When you sit still, you will know what you are grieving. When you sit still, you will realize who truly matters. When you sit still, you will understand that there are races you do not need to run. And when you sit quietly before me, you will realize that love is not always a powerful feeling. Often, love is presence. It is me sitting beside you in the night, without needing to say anything, simply so that you may know that you are not alone. My beloved child, there have been times when you thought you had been forgotten, because no one asked whether you were truly okay. But I still ask. I ask in those moments when your heart suddenly grows heavy. I ask when you see someone smiling while something inside you wants to cry. I ask in the moments when you stand among many people, yet still feel as though you belong nowhere. You may answer me with the truth. Do not say that you are fine when you are not. Do not try to appear strong before me. I do not need a polished version of your soul. I want the real you. If you are angry, tell me that you are angry. If you are afraid, tell me that you are afraid. If you feel that I have been silent for too long, tell me that as well. David once asked, "O Lord, how long will you forget me?" And I did not abandon him because of that question. I still led him through green pastures, through caves, through battles, through starless nights, so that he might understand that faith is not the absence of questions. Faith is continuing to return to me even when your heart is still full of questions. So do not disregard today simply because it does not look like the life you once dreamed of. Perhaps today brings no great news. Perhaps it brings only a small trial, a long season of waiting, monotonous work, a difficult conversation, or a memory that returns and makes your heart ache. Yet I can use that ordinary day to do something extraordinary within your soul. A seed does not need a stage in order to grow. A drop of water does not need applause in order to nourish a field. A heart that knows how to love does not need the whole world to see it in order to be precious. Do the good you are able to do today. Be kind when no one praises you. Live uprightly when no one is watching. Love even when you are not certain you will receive anything in return. For none of these things are lost. They are kept with me like little candles. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that those little candles were the very lights that led you through the darkest stretches of your life. If you are standing before a decision, do not ask only what is easiest. Ask what brings peace to your soul. Do not ask only what will make others pleased. Ask what will keep you from betraying your own conscience. There are choices that are difficult at first, but later become freedom. There are paths that seem narrow in the beginning, but eventually lead you into a wider place. Jesus said, "The narrow gate and the difficult way lead to life." Not because I desire to make your life miserable, but because some things that are truly precious cannot be found along the path of convenience. Honesty may sometimes cause you to lose something. Kindness may sometimes cause others to misunderstand you. Patience may sometimes make you wait longer than you wish. But these things will build within you a soul that the winds of life cannot easily carry away. And when you are tempted to delay what is good, remember that I do not ask you to save the entire world in one day. I only invite you not to turn away from the small part of the world that has been placed in your hands. Perhaps it is your family. Perhaps it is a friend who needs to hear your voice. Perhaps it is a child who needs encouragement. Perhaps it is an elderly person sitting alone. Perhaps it is you, the one who has gone too long without being treated with mercy. Begin with what is closest. Begin with what is smallest. Begin today. For sometimes a miracle does not come when the heavens open, but when a heart decides not to close itself any longer. I will not leave you behind. I will not grow weary when you must learn an old lesson again. I will not depart from you simply because you have cried one more time, stumbled one more time, or been afraid one more time. But I hope that you will not abandon yourself. Do not deny the light I have placed within your heart. Do not allow the cold words of others to become the only voice you hear. Do not let tomorrow steal the good you are able to do today. Step out of the darkness within you. Even if only by one small step, open the window. Breathe. Pray. Call the person you need to call. Forgive the person you need to release. Hold yourself with the same mercy that I have always shown you. Then you will see that when you dare to answer the call of love today, tomorrow will no longer be a place of regret. It will become a field where the seeds you have sown in faith begin to bloom. And when you realize that I have been beside you on that road for a long time, do not think that you must immediately become someone who is never weak again. I do not call you to wear a strength that your heart does not yet possess. I do not ask you to hide your tears, swallow your pain, or pretend that everything is fine. Some tears are not signs of brokenness. They are signs that your heart is still alive, still able to love, still able to grieve over what is right and beautiful. Do not be ashamed when you are weary. Do not blame yourself on the days when you can only walk very slowly. I know there are stretches of the road where every step feels as though you are carrying an entire winter. But my child, even when you walk slowly, I still walk with you. Even when you no longer know what to say, I still understand the sighs hidden within your heart. There are prayers that do not need to become sentences, even one small cry, even one moment when you turn your heart toward the light. I have already heard, many times, you have blamed yourself for not being able to do more. You look at others and see that they seem more peaceful, more successful, stronger. You see them walking through life as though storms never touched them. And then you look back at yourself, your hands still trembling, your wounds still aching, your dreams still without form. But you do not know that behind those smiles are long nights as well. Behind a person's strength may be countless times when they fell down and rose again. Do not compare someone else's open page with the unfinished chapter you are still writing. I did not create you to become a copy of anyone else. I created you with your own journey, your own rhythm, your own voice, and even your own tears. Some seeds sprout beneath the early sun. Some seeds must pass through the rainy season before they break through the soil. But every seed has its own appointed time. Do not rush to conclude that you are late when I am still quietly at work in the deepest places of your heart. Perhaps you have not seen my hand in recent days. Perhaps you have prayed but have not received what you were hoping for. Perhaps you hoped, and then you were disappointed. Perhaps you opened your heart to someone and received coldness in return. Perhaps you tried to do what was right, but the outcome did not look as you imagined. In those moments, you often ask, "Are you really here, my beloved child?" I have never left. Just because you cannot see the road does not mean that you are lost. Just because the sky is covered with clouds does not mean that the sun has gone out. There are seasons when I do not answer with miracles, but with strength for you to endure one more day. There are seasons when I do not remove the storm at once, but build within you a shelter you never knew you possessed. And there are seasons when I allow you to pass through silence, not so that you will feel abandoned, but so that you may learn to distinguish the voice of love from the noise of fear. I remember a man named Elijah, who once stood boldly before crowds, witnessed great things, prayed and saw fire fall from heaven. Yet that same man one day ran into the wilderness, sat beneath a broom tree, and asked to die. He was exhausted. He felt alone. He thought that all his efforts had been meaningless. But I did not come to him with rebuke. I did not tell him that he was weak or a failure. I gave him rest. I gave him bread. I gave him water. And afterward, I called to him in a gentle whisper, "Do you see? I am not present only in mighty winds, great thunder, or miracles that astonish everyone. Many times, I come to you in a simple meal, in deep sleep after days of exhaustion, in a friend unexpectedly asking, 'Are you okay?' In morning light falling through the window, in the moment you realize that you still want to live, still want to love, still want to try one more time. Therefore, do not look down on small things. Do not wait until your life changes dramatically before believing that I am working. A flower blooms without making a sound. A stream flows without needing applause. A sprout breaks through the earth without announcing itself to the whole world. Yet those quiet things hold the strength of life. You are the same. Perhaps today you are only able to do one small thing. Get out of bed. Answer a message. Forgive someone. Refrain from saying words that would hurt another person. Or simply refuse to give up on yourself. That is already a victory. Do not let the world convince you that only great things are worthy of being treasured. In my eyes, a heart trying to live kindly in a world full of wounds is something beautiful. A person who still chooses love after being betrayed is something beautiful. A person who still chooses faith after disappointment is something beautiful. A person who knows how to return after losing the way is something beautiful. Remember that not every closed door is a loss. There are doors I close because what lies behind them is no longer a place where your soul can grow. You may have wept because someone left, because an opportunity did not work out, because a plan fell apart, or because you did not receive what you prayed for. I know that you are hurting. I do not deny that pain, but do not be quick to call every loss a punishment. Some things you believe were taken from you are actually ways in which I am pulling you away from what would wound you more deeply. There are paths that appear beautiful at the beginning, but gradually leave your heart dry. There are people who enter your life to teach you a lesson, not to walk with you forever. There are dreams that do not come true so that you may be free to receive something more fitting for your soul. You do not need to understand every reason right now. You only need to keep your heart from becoming stone. Do not let one disappointment cause you to close the door against all the good things still seeking their way toward you. I know you carry memories you do not want to revisit. There are words that once wounded you. There are people who made you question your own worth. There were times when you had to be strong for so long that you no longer knew how to be weak. But I want you to understand that the past does not have the right to write your entire future. What happened may have left scars, but scars are not a sentence. Scars prove that you survived what once could have destroyed you. Scars prove that you are still here, and I can use the places in you that once hurt the most to become a source of comfort for others. One day, you may meet someone drowning in the darkness you once walked through. Then you will not need grand words. You will only need to sit beside them. Look at them with eyes that do not judge, and say, "I understand." Sometimes, that is the closest thing to a miracle that one human being can offer another. Do not be afraid to begin again. You may have thought that you needed a great milestone, a special day, or a perfect reason before you could change. But transformation often does not begin with trumpets sounding. It begins with a quiet decision in the heart. I do not want to live this way anymore. It begins when you stop feeding bitterness. It begins when you dare to be honest with yourself. It begins when you say, "I need help." It begins when you stop running from what you know is right. Do not wait for the beginning of a week, a month, a year, or some great event before turning to a new page. Today is enough for you to begin. This very moment is enough for you to return. Your heart, even if it is still covered in dust, remains a place where I can light a new flame. Do not confuse forgiveness with allowing others to continue hurting you. Forgiveness does not mean that you must return to the place that shattered you. Forgiveness does not mean that you must forget everything, remain silent, or endure the same pain once more. Forgiveness is choosing not to let bitterness control your life. Forgiveness is placing in my hands the justice you cannot carry, so that your heart may become lighter. There are people you may forgive from a distance. There are doors you may close in peace. There are relationships you must leave in order to protect your soul. I do not want you to live in resentment, but neither do I want you to call repeated harm love. True love does not suffocate, demean, or force you to trade your dignity for the right to remain. True love leads you closer to the light. It does not push you deeper into darkness. When night falls and your heart is again filled with restless thoughts, remember that I do not sleep. Perhaps the whole world around you has grown quiet. Your phone no longer rings, and the room holds only the sound of your own breathing. But I am still there. I know the fears you do not speak aloud. I know the dreams that wake you in the middle of the night. I know the times you try to appear normal while you are breaking inside. You do not need to explain everything to me in perfect words. Lay your heart before me as you would place down a cracked vessel. I do not hate that vessel. I do not throw it away. I hold it with gentle hands. And even through its cracks, light can still shine out. You may not feel healed immediately, but every time you are honest, every time you dare to face what is true, every time you refuse to run from reality, you are moving closer to peace. So when tomorrow comes, do not carry too much of yesterday's fear with you. Do not let what has not yet happened steal the joy of the present moment. You cannot control everything, but you can choose how you walk. You can choose kindness. You can choose to speak words of love while there is still time. You can choose to keep your heart tender in a world full of thorns. You can choose to believe that even when life changes, I do not change in my love for you. And if there are times when your heart grows weak again, if there are times when you forget the way again, do not be ashamed to return. I do not count how many times you fall only to use them against you. I only look to see whether you still desire to rise. As long as you still seek the light will continue seeking you. Let today become the day you do not ignore the good that is calling to you. Let today become the day you speak the words that need to be spoken. Do what needs to be done. Forgive what needs to be forgiven. And pause long enough to listen to what your heart has been trying to say for so long. Perhaps no one will know that you have changed. Perhaps no one will applaud that small step. But I see that you have tried. I see that you did not surrender. I see that you chose love instead of coldness, peace instead of revenge, hope instead of despair. And in my eyes, you are not small at all. You are a soul learning how to walk out of darkness and return to the light. You are a child, gradually remembering that you were born not to live in fear, but to live in love. And no matter how slowly you walk, I will remain here, patiently walking beside you, until your heart learns once again to smile at tomorrow. And it is precisely when you begin to walk in this way that you will understand that life is not renewed only through great events. There are days without thunder, without a door opening before your eyes, without anyone coming to tell you that from this moment onward, everything will be different. Yet, on an ordinary afternoon, when you decide not to answer with cruel words in a quiet moment, when you choose to put down your phone and look deeply into the eyes of the person sitting beside you, when you humble your pride enough to say, I am sorry, on a night when you stop running and dare to kneel down with all your weariness, then the seed of a new life has begun to take root. I do not always change you through powerful winds. Sometimes I work within you like rain soaking into the soil so gently, so quietly, yet every drop goes deep into the driest places. And one day, when you look back, you will recognize what once seemed impossible. The heart that was filled with anger has softened. The hands that were once tightly closed have opened. And the eyes that once saw only pain have begun to see the suffering of others. Do not fear small beginnings. My beloved child, many people want to begin only when they have enough strength, enough money, enough confidence, enough praise, enough assurance that they will not fail. But the path of faith rarely begins with certainty. It often begins with a very small call within the heart, a fragile light in the distance, a gentle thought that you cannot push away. Abraham left his homeland without seeing where he would go. Noah built an ark when the sky still showed no sign of heavy rain. The widow of Zarephath had only a handful of flour and a little oil, yet she still dared to share her small cake. There are things you cannot fully understand right now, but you do not need to understand everything before you can take a step. I do not ask you to see the entire road. I only invite you to walk faithfully on the part of the road beneath your feet. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. A lamp does not illuminate an entire distant valley, but it is enough for you to see the next step. And often, once you have taken that next step, your heart will find strength to take another. There are times when you think I am silent because you have prayed and have not yet seen an answer. You have called, but the door remains closed. You have asked for a sign, but the sky seems to say nothing. My beloved child, do not be quick to believe that silence means absence. The seed lying beneath the soil is silent too. Yet in that darkness, it is breaking open, finding its way, pushing its first tender shoots through the hard ground. There are things I am preparing within you that you cannot yet see. Because if I showed them to you too early, you might be afraid of the very gift you are praying for. There are doors I have not opened, not because I have forgotten you, but because I want you to become mature enough to walk through them without losing yourself. There are people I have not brought back because your heart still needs healing before you can love them rightly. There are roads I have not allowed you to travel because at the end of those roads, you will need a faith stronger than the one you have today. But even when you cannot yet see the answer, I am still near. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for I am with you. Those words do not promise that you will never walk through valleys. They promise that you will never walk through them alone. Therefore, do not let waiting turn your heart into stone. Waiting is not helplessness, nor is it surrender. Waiting in me means continuing to live well while you have not yet seen what you long for. It means still being kind to others while your own heart is hurting. It means still working with honest hands when no one notices. It means still caring for your little home, watering a plant, giving thanks, trusting that one day winter will pass. Perhaps you cannot make what you desire arrive sooner, but you can refuse to let the waiting steal the beauty of today. You can learn to see the ordinary gifts I still send: a warm meal, a familiar voice, a morning still filled with sunlight, a hand you can still hold, a heart that can still be moved. Sometimes you are so focused on what you do not have that you forget what you already have as a gift. I do not want you to live as someone who only counts what is missing. I want you to learn to recognize what is quietly sustaining your life. Remember the man who had lain beside the pool of Bethesda for 38 years. When Jesus asked him, "Do you want to be made well?" the question may have sounded strange. For who suffers and does not wish to be healed? Yet sometimes, after living with pain for too many years, you begin to grow accustomed to it. You allow the past to become your name. You say, "I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who always fails. I am the one no one understands. I am the one who cannot change. I do not deny what you have endured. Nor do I ask you to pretend that the wound never existed. But I ask you, with all tenderness, do you truly want to rise from the place where you have lain for far too long? Do you want to be healed? Even if that healing asks you to learn again how to trust, how to love, and how to live. For sometimes familiar pain makes you afraid even of freedom. You know how to live in sorrow, but you no longer know who you would be without it. You know how to protect yourself, yet you fear that opening your heart will only wound you again. My beloved child, I am not calling you out of your past so that you may enter an emptiness. I am calling you out so that you may meet yourself again, the person I saw before that pain ever entered your life. Do not think that healing always comes as an instant miracle. Some wounds close slowly, like dawn rising little by little behind the hills. There will be days when you think you are well, and then an old memory suddenly returns and makes your eyes sting with tears. Do not blame yourself for that. A wound that still hurts does not mean you are weak. It only means that your heart is still alive. Let me sit beside you on those days. Do not hide your tears as though they were something shameful. Jesus himself wept at the tomb of Lazarus. He knew that the power of resurrection was in his hands. Yet he still wept before the grief of those he loved. So when you cry, I do not turn my face away. I do not say, you must be stronger. I simply say, stay. Let me be here with you. Often, what heals you is not receiving an explanation for everything at once, but knowing that even while you understand nothing, you are not abandoned. And one day, when your heart has grown gentler, I will lead you to look back at the paths that once caused you pain. You will no longer see only what was lost. You will begin to notice what was born in that very darkness. Perhaps the lonely days taught you how to listen. Perhaps a failure made you humble and compassionate. Perhaps a closed door kept you from a place that was never meant for you. Perhaps the tears you once thought were useless watered the seed of a deeper heart within you. I do not call evil good. I do not rejoice in what has hurt you. But I can do what only love can do. I can refuse to let pain have the final victory. I can turn the place where you once fell into the place where you learn how to help another person rise. I can use even your scars to remind others that they, too, can survive. So when you meet someone who is weak, do not rush to judge them simply because you do not know the battle they carry. Some smiles hide an entire sleepless night. Some people speak very little because they have once been wounded by too many words. Some are quick to anger because beneath that anger is a heart that has gone too long without being held. I am not telling you to accept what is wrong or to allow others to hurt you, but I invite you to look at people with eyes of mercy. Mercy does not make you weak. Mercy helps you see beyond a momentary action and recognize a soul that is struggling. When you choose gentle words instead of sarcasm, listening instead of interruption, and asking, "Are you okay?" instead of drawing conclusions, you bring a part of my light into this world, and the world needs that light more than you realize. Perhaps today you do not have the strength to do great things. Then begin with faithfulness in small things. Make your bed with gratitude because you still have a place to rest. Drink a glass of water and care for the body I have entrusted to you. Reply to the message you know someone is waiting for. Say thank you to the person who serves you. Stop repeating in your heart the words that have wounded you. Turn off something that makes your mind heavier, and open a quiet space in which to pray. Do not underestimate these things. A life is built not only through brilliant days, but also through small choices repeated faithfully. A builder does not place the entire roof on a house in one day. He lays one brick at a time. And every brick of kindness, disciplina, forgiveness, and gratitude will gradually build within you a home that even strong winds cannot easily carry away. If you are standing before something you know you need to do, yet you are still afraid, let me remind you of this. You do not need to wait until fear disappears before you take a step. You simply must not allow fear to rule your footsteps. David may have trembled when he stood before Goliath, but he did not let his trembling make him turn away. Esther may have been afraid when she entered the king's presence, but she still said, "If I perish, I perish." And in the moment she chose courage. A nation was saved. You do not have to do something that makes the whole world notice you, but in the small room of your life, in your family, in the relationships you hold, and in the work you do, there will be moments that require you to choose what is right instead of what is easy. Remember that I am not only waiting at the end of the road for you to succeed, I am present in the breath you take before you step forward, in the sweat upon your brow, and in the quiet prayer you whisper when no one else can hear. And when night comes again, when all the noise of the day has faded away, I hope you will not only count how many things you accomplished. Ask your heart a simpler question. Whom did you love today? Whom did you truly listen to? Did you treat yourself with the same kindness that I continue to give you? Did you have even one moment when you were truly present, truly grateful, truly alive? For life is not measured only by the number of days you pass through, but by the number of days you truly open your heart to life. I do not need you to do everything perfectly. I only do not want you to reject the grace that is drawing near to you. Do not let today pass by unconsciously. Do not let your heart fall asleep before the beautiful things around you. Step into tomorrow with a lighter heart, not because you know every answer, but because you know that you do not walk alone. When you are weary, I will be your place of rest. When you are confused, I will be the light sufficient for your next step. When you fail, I will be the path that leads you home. When you think you are too late, I will remind you that as long as you still know how to turn back, the door of hope remains before you. And even now, while you can still hear the loving call within your heart, do not close it with delay. Choose something good. Do what is right. Speak a word of love. Return to peace. For every moment you live in love, you are not losing today, you are receiving it as a gift. And because I have been beside you on this road for a long time, do not think that your steps today must be perfect in order to deserve guidance. There will be days when you walk very slowly, your heart heavy, as though you are carrying an entire storm upon your shoulders. There will be days when you feel as though you are going nowhere, because everything before you is blurred. Every answer is silent, and even prayer has become nothing more than a sigh. But my beloved child, I hear even that sigh. I hear the things you cannot put into words, the sorrows you hide behind a smile, and the walls you have built because you fear that your heart will be hurt again. I do not measure you by the speed at which you run, nor do I judge you by the times you stumble. I see that you are still trying to remain in the light, even when all you have strength enough to do is lift your eyes without saying a word. There are seeds that lie beneath the soil for a very long time, seeming forgotten, yet spring still knows how to find them. Your heart is the same, though some parts of it have been buried beneath disappointment, exhaustion, and long seasons of being misunderstood. I can still call life forth from the places you thought had dried up. Therefore, do not rush to conclude that a sad day means a sad life, that one closed door means the whole path is lost, or that someone leaving is proof that you are unworthy of love. People often see only a short chapter and assume they know the entire story. But I see all the chapters you have not yet reached. You see only the night covering your window, while I have already seen the dawn preparing beyond the horizon. You see the pain that is very near, while I see the strength being formed within you through that very pain. Just as Job once sat among ashes, unable to understand why everything familiar had suddenly fallen apart. You too may be sitting among the broken pieces of your life, unsure how to gather them again. But I do not forget the one who weeps in the ashes. I do not abandon the one who asks why. Even when you do not understand the path I am leading you on, you can still hold my hand. And in those days, the words of the Psalms remain like a stream of cool water. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You do not need to pretend to be strong before me. Let me meet you exactly where you are weakest. For sometimes that very place of weakness becomes the first doorway through which love enters. How many times have you blamed yourself because you could not forget more quickly, forgive sooner, or rise immediately after falling? You look at others walking peacefully and then return to blame your own heart for being too slow, too sensitive, too easily hurt. But I did not create you to be a stone that feels nothing. I created you with a heart that can be moved, so that you may love, care, weep over another person's sorrow, recognize beauty in a quiet afternoon, in the laughter of children, and in a meal where someone is waiting for you to return home. Do not hate yourself simply because you feel deeply. What you need to learn is not how to become cold, but how to let me teach you to guard your heart without locking it away. Guard your heart above all else, for from it flow the springs of life. Those words do not tell you to distrust everyone. They remind you to place your heart in my hands, so that what enters it will no longer remain thorns that make you bleed without end, but will become lessons that help you understand mercy more deeply. There will come a time when you look back and realize that the things which once made you cry taught you how to hold others with gentleness. Some wounds once made you feel abandoned, but later became bridges that helped you understand the loneliness of someone quietly standing beside you. Some seasons you walked through in silence, yet that very silence taught you how to hear the unspoken cries of others. I am not saying that all suffering is beautiful. No. There are things that should never have happened, wounds that can never be called gentle, and losses that make the human heart tremble when remembered. But love can do something miraculous. Love may not erase the past, but it can keep the past from becoming a prison. It can turn tears into streams that water compassion. It can transform someone who was once broken into a shelter for other broken souls. And just as Paul wrote that grace is sufficient for you, because power is made perfect in weakness, you too will gradually understand that the very thing which made you feel most inadequate may become the place where I teach you to depend on me, to become humble, and to love more deeply. But my beloved child, do not look only at what has been lost and forget what still remains. You still have a morning in which to begin again. You still have hands with which to lift others up. You still have a voice with which to speak a kind word. You still have feet that can carry you to a place where your presence is needed. You still have a heart that, though weary, can still tremble when love calls its name. Do not let fear take away your ability to recognize your blessings. Perhaps you do not have everything you desire, but look around you. There are people praying for the very things you consider ordinary. A home to return to, someone who is still beside them, a meal that may not be abundant, but is filled with conversation and laughter, a peaceful night of sleep, a day without needing to run away, a body that still has the strength to walk. When you learn to give thanks, your heart no longer lives in constant lack. Gratitude does not make hardship disappear at once, but it opens your eyes to see that even in hardship, I am still leaving traces of my care. Just as the people of Israel received manna day by day in the wilderness, you too will receive enough for each day. You live, not always in the way you planned, but in the way that keeps your soul from dying of thirst. Perhaps what you need today is not a great sign, but simply the courage to believe that small things are still worth doing. You may have thought that you needed to have more before you could give, that you needed to be completely healed before you could comfort someone, or that you needed to be free from all anxiety before you could pray. But, my child, the poor widow in the temple had only 2 small coins, and Jesus looked upon her with honor because she gave what she had with all her heart. I do not ask from you what you do not have. I only ask that you do not despise the small thing resting in your hands. A sincere question of concern, one act of yielding, a kindness no one knows about, an evening when you put down your phone in order to listen to someone you love, a prayer for the person who hurt you, a decision not to answer cruelty with cruelty. These things may not be posted for praise, applauded by anyone, or called extraordinary, but in heaven, these quiet seeds are still remembered, because true love does not need a stage in order to be precious. And while you are learning to sow these small seeds, I also want you to remember that mercy must begin in the very home of your own soul. There may be people you have forgiven many times, yet you still cannot forgive yourself. You remember every moment when you spoke wrongly, chose wrongly, made someone sad, or allowed yourself to lose your way. You replay old scenes in your mind as though punishing yourself will somehow redeem the past. But my beloved child, repentance does not mean remaining forever in the darkness. Repentance means turning toward the light. When the woman caught in sin was brought before the crowd, Jesus did not deny her sin, but neither did he allow the crowd to use stones to end her life. After they had all gone away, he said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." That is how love heals. It does not call what is wrong right. Yet it also does not turn a mistake into a lifelong sentence. Learn to rise with truth, but do not rise under the lash of self-hatred. Rise with gratitude that you still have the opportunity to live differently. When you begin to live differently, you will see that change does not always come like a great wind, sweeping everything away in a single night. Often, it comes like a drop of water falling steadily upon a stone. At first, you may think that nothing is changing, but each day, each time you choose silence instead of causing harm, each time you choose prayer instead of despair, and each time you choose to keep walking instead of giving up, your heart is being shaped anew. I am not impatient with your growth. A gardener does not pull a plant out of the earth to make it grow faster. He tends the soil, waters it, waits for the sunlight, prunes the dry branches, and patiently watches life unfold. I am patient with you in the same way. Some things I am pruning from your life are not meant to leave you empty, but to help you bear more fruit. Some people leave, not because you were not enough, but because they were not called to walk with you to the end of the road. Some doors close, not as punishment, but to keep you from entering places that would drain your soul. You do not understand everything now, but one day, when you look back, you will realize that there were times I protected you through the very things you once called disappointments. So today, when you hear a gentle call in your heart, please do not turn away too quickly. Perhaps it is reminding you to return to something you have forgotten. Perhaps it is reminding you to rest, because you have been trying to endure for too long. Perhaps it is reminding you to say, "I am sorry," before silence becomes distance. Perhaps it is reminding you to say, "I love you," while that person can still hear it. Perhaps it is reminding you to open the Bible, sit quietly for a few minutes, and allow your soul covered by so much noise to breathe again. Do not consider that a small thing. One small call answered can change the direction of an entire day. A day redirected can open a different month, and a different month can gradually lead you toward a different life. I do not ask you to know the whole future. I only invite you to be faithful with the moment that is already in your hands. My beloved child, there will be times when you do not feel that I am near. In those moments, Do not rely completely on your feelings. Feelings are like clouds in the sky, sometimes full of light, sometimes heavy with rain. But true love does not disappear simply because you cannot feel it on a lonely afternoon. Remember the times you were lifted up without knowing who sent a hand to help you. Remember the doors that opened at the very moment you were close to despair. Remember the things that seemed to end, but later became beginnings. Remember the nights when you thought you could not endure, yet the next morning you still woke up, still breathed, and still had another opportunity to continue. I do not promise that your life will be without tears, but I promise that your tears are not meaningless. I do not promise that your path will be free from rough places, but I promise that you will not walk alone. As Isaiah once proclaimed, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you walk through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you." Those words are not a promise that you will never encounter deep waters. They are a promise that deep waters will not have the power to swallow your soul. Therefore, do not wait until life is perfect before you return to life. Do not wait until you are no longer afraid before you love. Do not wait until you no longer hurt before you forgive. Do not wait until you have every answer before you move forward. Today is a gift being placed very gently in your hands. Hold it with tenderness. Live today as someone who knows they are loved, not so that you may become proud, but so that you may have enough peace to love others. Let your words bring life. Let your eyes judge less. Let your hands become a place where someone feels supported. And when night comes, if there are still many things unresolved, lay them down. You do not need to carry the whole world into bed with you. Say quietly within your heart, "Today I have come this far. Please lead me through the rest." Then you will sleep with greater peace, because you know that you do not have to carry everything alone. I am still there in the silence, in your breathing, in the fragile light before dawn, reminding you that it is not too late to return, not too late to love, not too late to do what is good, and not too late to begin again. And after you have heard that call amid the burdens of a long day, I want you to understand something more. You will not always recognize the value of the moment you are living in. There are days that pass by so ordinarily, so quietly, that you only wish they would end quickly. You wake up, walk through familiar rooms, see familiar faces, do familiar work, and then wait for night to come so that you may rest. But my beloved child, it is in those days that seem to hold nothing special that life quietly weaves its most precious things. A morning when you can still hear someone call your name, a meal where there are still enough people gathered around the table, a message from someone who once hurt you, yet can still be answered with peace, a road you travel every day, where sunlight still falls upon your shoulders, like a reminder that you have not been forgotten. Do not despise what is familiar, for often it is only when those things leave your life that you realize they were blessings all along. I know there are times when you look around and see only what you lack. You see others with easier lives, warmer families, more stable work, and more natural smiles. You look at yourself and sigh, as though your life were nothing more than a barren field surrounded by other people's gardens in bloom. But you do not know their whole story. Just as they do not know the silent battles within your heart, every soul has its own wounds, its own long nights, and its own tears that no one hears. So do not use the bright part of another person's life to make your own path seem darker. I never asked you to become a copy of anyone else. I created you with your own rhythm, your own wounds, your own journey, and a beauty that only you can bring into this world. Some are called to shine like a flame. Others are called to glow gently like a small lamp in a dark home. Do not think that a small light is unimportant. It is often that small light that helps someone find the way when night has already fallen. When you begin to cherish what you already have, your heart will slowly learn to see the world through different eyes. You will realize that not every good thing arrives with cheers and celebration. Some blessings come very quietly. They come through the strength you still have to walk into one more day. They come through the friend who remains beside you even when you do not know what to say. They come through peaceful sleep after many restless nights. They come through rain that cools a sweltering roof. They come through the laughter of a child, the scent of rice cooking in the kitchen, or a flower blooming by the roadside without needing anyone's praise. These things may seem small, but when you allow your heart to grow still, you will see that they are words of love written upon your life by an unseen hand. As the psalm reminds us, "This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Not because every day is easy, and not because every day is free from tears, but because each day still carries within it an opportunity for you to recognize that I am leading you onward. So while you are still able to love, love. Do not wait until you are certain that you will not be hurt before opening your heart. Do not wait until another person is perfect before treating them with gentleness. Do not wait until every misunderstanding has been explained before speaking a word of forgiveness. True love is not a reward reserved for those without flaws. Love is a bridge built even when there is still a great distance between the two shores. Perhaps you will not receive back what you have given. Perhaps someone will not understand your kindness. Perhaps someone will leave, even though you have tried your best to keep them close. But do not close your heart because of this. Do not let another person's coldness turn you into someone you never wanted to become. You may be wise. You may keep healthy boundaries. And you may step away from what wounds you. But do not lose your warmth. This world already has too many people who suffer because they have not been loved in the right way. Let your presence become a place where someone feels that they have not been abandoned. I want you to remember the woman who touched the garment of Jesus in the midst of the crowd. She had no status, no powerful voice, and no one to clear a path for her. She carried only a trembling faith, a pain that had lasted for many years, and a hope so small that perhaps she herself did not dare to speak it aloud. Yet she stepped forward. She did not allow shame to hold her back. She did not allow her past to tell her that she was unworthy of healing. And with only one touch, her life was changed. You are the same. Perhaps today you do not have the strength to do great things. Perhaps you only have enough strength to pray one short sentence. Perhaps you only have enough strength to open the door of your room, take a deep breath, answer a message, or tell someone, "I am not okay." But my beloved, do not despise that small step. Many lives are redirected not by great leaps, but by one brave step away from the place where they have been trapped for far too long. Perhaps what frightens you most is not failure, but hope. Hope requires you to believe that things can be different. Hope asks you to open the door and allow light to enter, even though you have grown used to living in a dark room. But I tell you that you do not need to fear the light. Light does not come to expose you to judgment. It comes to show you what needs to be healed. Some wounds hurt only when they are touched, but if they are never touched, they will quietly fester within you. There are memories you want to bury, yet they return at night because they need to be acknowledged with mercy. You do not have to keep running away from yourself forever. I do not hate the weak places within you. I do not turn away from the tears you hide. I do not leave when you fall. What I desire is that you do not remain forever in the place that has wounded you. When life makes you weary, you often think you must hold yourself together and overcome everything on your own. You fear that if you admit your weakness, others will look down on you. You fear that if you stop, everything will fall apart. But my beloved, you are not a pillar meant to carry the whole world upon your shoulders. There are burdens that do not belong to you. There are pains you cannot heal simply by trying harder. There are battles you need to lay down so that gentler hands may lift you up. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. Those words are not only for the strong, they are for souls that have walked too long in loneliness. You do not have to pretend that you are fine before me. Come with the full truth of who you are, with your questions, your disappointments, the things you do not understand, the anger you are afraid to admit, and the dreams you are afraid to speak aloud. I do not require you to be clean before entering the place of peace. I invite you to come so that you may be cleansed, and when you have been comforted, I desire that you also become comfort for others. Perhaps somewhere there is someone who appears very strong, but is truly waiting for someone to ask, "Are you okay?" Perhaps someone in your family speaks harshly because they do not know how to express their pain. Perhaps the friend who has grown distant from you has not stopped caring, but is also lost in the depths of their own sorrow. Do not be quick to judge only what your eyes can see. Ask for a heart that knows how to look deeper. Some people carry thorns not because they want to hurt anyone, but because they have lived too long without anyone touching them gently. You do not have to save everyone, but you can become a gentle stillness in someone's stormy day. You can choose not to answer anger with anger. You can choose not to return coldness with contempt. You can choose words that soothe rather than words that make wounds deeper. That is the beauty of a soul that knows it is loved. There are things you need to do today, not because tomorrow will no longer exist, but because your heart should not keep delaying what is good. Speak words of gratitude while your heart can still feel thankful. Say you are sorry while humility can still save a relationship. Hold your loved ones while they are still before you. Return to the beautiful dream you abandoned because you listened to too many voices telling you that you could not care for your body, because it has walked with you through so many stormy seasons. Rest when you need rest, because you were not created to burn endlessly without ever being warmed. Pray when your heart is troubled, not so that every answer will come at once, but so that you may remember you do not walk alone. There will come days when you look back and realize that what saved you was not a miracle arriving with thunder, but a moment you did not let pass by. A day when you chose to call home, a time when you chose not to answer in anger, an evening when you stopped running away and sat quietly with your own heart, a moment when you dared to say, "I need help," a prayer that seemed small, yet kept you from stepping over the edge of despair. These things may be unknown to everyone else. No one may praise them. No one may record them. But I know, and in the quiet depths of your soul, you too will know that each of those small steps brought you out of a darkness deeper than you once imagined. Therefore, my beloved, while today is still in your hands, do not merely live through another day. Live as someone who knows that every breath is an invitation. Live as someone who understands that kindness does not need to wait for a special occasion before it is given. Live as someone who knows they are not perfect, yet are still loved. Do not let fear tell you that it is too late. Do not let old mistakes force you to believe that your life contains only ruined pages. Today's page is still open. The ink has not yet dried. The story is not over. You can still begin with something very small, but very real. And when you walk toward that goodness, you will discover that love has never abandoned you. It has only stood patiently at the door of your heart, waiting for you to gather the courage to open it. And when you begin to walk in that light, even though your steps may still be slow, I want you to understand that I do not only look at where you are going, I also treasure every step you are taking. Some roads look endless when seen from far away, but when you walk them one day, 1 hour, 1 breath at a time, you will discover that they are not as frightening as you once believed. What makes you weary is not always the distance ahead. Sometimes it is the fact that you keep standing in one place, looking at it with eyes full of anxiety. You have grown used to thinking that you must know everything before you begin, that you must have enough strength before you face what lies ahead, and that you must be certain you will not fail before you dare to move. But my beloved, a seed does not know how great a tree it will become. A stream does not know how many valleys it will pass through. And a young bird does not know where the wind will carry it. It only knows that when the time comes to leave the nest, it must spread its wings. You are the same, not because you are no longer afraid, but because, even within your fear, you choose to believe that love is greater than the trembling of your heart. Perhaps you have looked at your life and thought that every good thing has come too late. You see others who have gone farther, who have a home, a career, peace, and laughter that you feel you may never have. Then you look back at yourself with a quiet sadness, asking why you are slower, why you have had to endure more loss, and why your prayers seem to have gone unanswered. But my beloved, do not measure your journey by someone else's clock. Some flowers bloom at the beginning of spring. Some become radiant only after summer has passed. And some seeds remain in the soil for a very long time before rising to meet the sun. Their beauty is not less because they bloom later. The light within you has not gone out simply because you are walking through a season filled with clouds. Everything has its season, and every matter under heaven has its appointed time. Those words of Scripture do not speak only of the seasons of the world, they also speak of the seasons within your soul. There is a season to sow, a season to wait, a season to weep, and a season to be renewed. Do not despise the season you are in simply because it does not yet resemble what you had hoped for. Even in the days when you do not understand what is happening, I want you to hold on to this one truth. You have not been forgotten. Silence is not always absence. There are seeds being tended in darkness where your eyes cannot see. There are wounds quietly closing, even though you have not yet felt yourself becoming whole. There are doors that have not opened because you cannot yet see everything behind them. You see delay, but perhaps within that delay there is protection. You see disappointment, but perhaps those disappointments are keeping you from a path that would wound your soul even more deeply. Joseph was sold, misunderstood, and imprisoned in darkness. Yet in the end, he recognized that what people intended for harm could be turned into something that saved many lives. Not every pain is easy to understand. I am not asking you to call suffering something good, but I want you to believe that pain is not the final chapter of your life. Some pages are written with tears, but they are not meant to end in despair. One day, when you read them again, you will see that you were led through the darkness by an unseen hand full of love. Therefore, do not turn your back on your own life simply because today does not look like the dream you once had. Do not abandon yourself in your weak days. Do not speak such cruel words to your own heart. You may have made mistakes. You may have lost something very precious. You may have chosen wrongly, trusted the wrong person, or given your heart to a place that did not know how to cherish it. But your mistakes are not your final name. A crack does not take away all the value of a vessel. Sometimes it is through the crack that light enters. You are not the total of your failures. You are not the voices of those who once mocked you. You are not the fear that makes your heart tremble each night. You are a soul that can still love, still learn, still change, and still walk away from what is old. Like the woman caught in sin, she once stood before a crowd in shame and fear, afraid of being stoned. But Jesus did not look at her with the eyes of the crowd. He opened a new path before her. Do not remain in your wrongdoing, but go forward and live differently. My beloved, that is also what I want to say to you today. Do not remain forever where you fell. Rise up, brush away the dust, and continue walking. When you rise, you do not need to carry everything that has made your heart heavy. There are memories you must learn to lay down. There are words from others that you do not need to keep carrying within your heart. There are relationships that have ended which you cannot pull back with tears. There are doors that have closed, and you need to stop standing before them so that you may realize there are still other paths behind you. I know that letting go is not easy. Sometimes you are not only letting go of a person, a thing, or a dream. You are also letting go of an old version of yourself. The version that once believed that if you tried hard enough, everything would stay. But life does not always preserve what you love. Some people pass through your life to teach you a lesson. Some seasons pass through to teach you to cherish the light. Some losses come to remind you that your heart cannot place all its hope in what is fragile. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. Those words do not take away your sorrow, but they remind you that even in the place where you are most shattered, you are not alone. I am closer than you think. I am in the sigh you keep hidden. I am in the tear you quickly wipe away before anyone sees it. I am in the moment when you believe no one can understand your heart. One day, you will look back and realize that the things that hurt you most also taught you how to love more deeply. You will no longer love blindly, but with eyes that know how to cherish. You will no longer trust simply because you fear being alone, but you will learn to choose people who know how to care for your heart. You will no longer chase places that offer only applause, but you will return to places that offer you peace. That is a maturity that is not loud and does not need anyone to witness it, but it is beautiful in my eyes. There are victories that do not happen on a stage. They are found when you choose silence instead of causing harm. They are found when you choose forgiveness, even though your heart still hurts. They are found when you choose not to return to what once destroyed you. They are found when you choose to believe in tomorrow after so many nights when you thought you could not continue. No one may applaud you for these things, but I see them, and I want you to know that every time you choose light instead of darkness, your heart becomes stronger. Do not forget that love is not only something you receive, it is also something you can give. Even when you feel that you have very little left, perhaps you do not have abundant money, a powerful voice, or the authority to change great things, but you can offer a smile to someone who is tired. You can listen to someone without rushing to judge them. You can sit beside someone who is sad without forcing them to explain. You can send a message to ask after someone you have not spoken to for a long time. You can tell your parents that you are grateful for them. You can tell a child that they are doing very well. You can allow a stranger to go ahead of you when you are in a hurry. These things may appear small, but love has never truly been small. One kind word can remain in someone's heart for many years. One time you choose not to hurt someone can prevent sorrow from spreading further. A little patience you show another person can become a shelter for them on a dark day. Remember the words of Jesus. Whoever is faithful in small things will also be faithful in great things. Do not wait until you can do something extraordinary before believing that you matter. Sometimes the greatest thing is simply making one person feel that they have not been abandoned. If your heart feels empty today, I do not ask you to pretend to be strong. You do not need to smile when it is raining inside you. You do not need to say that you are fine when everything within you is confused. I do not need a perfect prayer from you. I only need the truth. You may come and say, I am tired. You may say, I do not understand. You may say, I am afraid. You may sit quietly without saying anything at all. Sometimes the deepest prayer is not made of long sentences, but of a sigh offered in silence. And even when you do not know how to pray, your heart can still be heard. In the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus also experienced sorrow so deep that his sweat became like drops of blood. He did not deny his pain. He did not hide his loneliness. But in the midst of all these things, he still surrendered himself. You can do the same. You do not need to understand the whole road. You only need not to let go while you are walking through the dark stretch. And when a new day comes, give your heart another chance. Open the window. Take a deep breath. Watch the light touch the wall. Listen to the birds, the wind, and the footsteps of people who are still living beside you. These ordinary things can also remind you that life is still here and is still inviting you to take part in it. Perhaps you missed something yesterday, but today there is still an apology to offer, a good deed to do, a hope to hold, a person to love, and something new to begin. Do not let the past steal the life of the present. Do not let fear of tomorrow take away the beauty of today. You do not need to control everything. You only need to remain faithful to the moment that has been placed in your hands. Live today with a heart that is grateful, willing to listen, ready to love, and willing to return. And when you walk in this way, even though the world outside may continue to change, there will still be a place of peace within you that cannot easily be taken away. I do not promise that every day ahead will be easy, but I want you to believe that there is not a single day you must walk through alone. There will be times when you are tired again, confused again, and tempted to delay what is good. When that happens, remember these words. Do not ignore the call of love because you think you still have plenty of time. Be kind while you still can. Hold someone while there is still someone to hold. Forgive while your heart can still open. Return while the door is still wide open. Begin while the small flame within you has not yet gone out. For my beloved, every day is not simply another day to survive. Every day is a gift, an opportunity, a gentle invitation for you to become the person that deep within your heart you have always hoped you could become. And no matter how slowly you walk, as long as you are still turning toward the light, you are still walking in the right direction. And just as you are about to close these thoughts, I want you to pause a little longer, not to hold you back with anxiety, but to give your heart enough quiet to recognize what it has been silently searching for. There are days when you move through life too quickly, so quickly that you no longer hear the sound of your own footsteps. You wake in a rush, speak the words that need to be spoken, do the things that need to be done, and then night falls with a soul that is still filled with noise. You may have accomplished many things, yet deep within, there is still an untouched emptiness. That emptiness is not there because you lack money, because you lack people beside you, or because you have not achieved the things you once dreamed of. It is the place where your soul is quietly calling for peace. And I am still there, not loudly, not forcefully, but patiently standing at the door of your heart, like dawn waiting beyond the horizon, like a gentle breeze touching a leaf without breaking it. Do not think that I come to you only on the days when you are strong, when your prayers are polished, or when your heart is clean and without stain. I also come on the days when you are most exhausted, the days when you do not know what to say except, I hurt. Sometimes your most beautiful prayer is not a long and carefully crafted passage, but simply an honest sigh, and even that sigh, I hear. Therefore, do not let today pass you by simply because you think you are not ready enough. No one is ever truly prepared for every good thing life invites them into. We become ready only when we dare to open our hearts and step toward what we fear. You wait until you are no longer wounded before you forgive. Yet perhaps forgiveness itself is what slowly closes the wound. You wait until you are no longer weary before you pray. Yet perhaps prayer itself is where your shoulders find rest. You wait until all anxiety has faded before you move forward. Yet many paths reveal themselves only after you have taken the first step. Like Peter long ago, stepping out of the boat amid the wind and waves. He did not walk because the sea had become calm. He walked because his eyes were fixed on the one who called him. It is the same with you. You do not need to wait until your life is completely peaceful before returning to what is good. Return while your heart is still trembling. Speak words of love while your voice is still caught in your throat. Apologize while pride is still holding you back. Pause beside someone who is grieving, even when you do not yet know how to comfort them. Love does not always require you to know all the right words. Sometimes it only asks that you remain, that you do not walk away. There are things you have been postponing, and deep down, you know it. A phone call to the one who gave you life, an embrace for the person who lives beside you, yet whom you have not truly looked at for a long time. A message asking after the friend who once walked with you through difficult days. A word of thanks to the one who has quietly helped you. An apology to the person you hurt through anger or silence. You think these things can wait until tomorrow. But tomorrow does not always arrive with the same people, the same opportunities, or the same hearts still intact as they are today. I do not say this to make you afraid of loss. I say it because I want you to cherish presence. Someone sitting beside you today may be far away tomorrow. A hand that still holds yours today may one day become only a warmth you remember. There are words that, if left unspoken, may someday be spoken only into emptiness. So, my beloved child, do not let gratitude sleep for too long. Do not allow love to exist only in thought. The greatest gift you can offer someone is not always something grand, but the feeling that they are seen, cherished, and loved while they are still here. But I also know that sometimes you do not delay because you are careless, but because you are afraid of rejection. You want to call someone, but fear they will not answer. You want to apologize, but fear they will not open their heart. You want to return to a relationship, but fear that you will be hurt again. You want to live more kindly, but fear that others will take advantage of your kindness. You want to begin again, but fear failing one more time. My child, fear may keep you standing still for a very long time, but it cannot heal you. Only love can heal love that has been wounded. Only truth can untie the knots that silence has pulled too tightly. You cannot control how others respond, but you can choose how your own heart will show up. You can speak sincerely without forcing anyone. You can forgive without denying your pain. You can set boundaries while still keeping compassion. You can walk away without carrying hatred with you. When Jesus taught you to love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, he was not inviting you to endure what is wrong forever. He was calling your soul into freedom from the burden of hatred. Forgiveness does not mean saying that what they did was right. Forgiveness means saying that what they did will not be allowed to poison the rest of your life. And in the moments when you feel too small before a world too vast, I want you to remember the boy who brought 5 loaves and 2 fish. He did not have much. In the eyes of the crowd, that small amount of food seemed insignificant compared with the thousands who were hungry. Perhaps if he had looked only at the numbers, he might have held tightly to what he had, afraid that giving it away would change nothing. But he placed his small offering where it needed to be placed. Then what seemed so little became enough. You too may think that you have nothing significant to offer, a small word, a small amount of money, a small act of help, a small ability, a little time. But in the hands of love, nothing is too small. A smile can save someone from a day of despair. A word of encouragement can keep someone from giving up. One moment of yielding can keep a family from falling apart. One choice to be honest can alter the whole direction of a story. Do not wait until you have much before you begin to do good. Use what you have today. Offer the small light within you. For light, no matter how small, never needs permission from darkness in order to shine. Perhaps what you need to do today is not to run farther away, but to return closer to your own soul. For too long, you have listened to the voices of everyone else. They tell you that you must be this way, succeed in that way, live according to this pattern, possess those things before you can be worthy. And among so many voices, you have gradually forgotten the deepest voice within your heart. You have forgotten that you once longed to become a gentle person. You have forgotten that you once wanted to live a meaningful life, not merely a busy one. You have forgotten that you once found your heart stirred by a quiet afternoon, a family meal, a hand held gently, a verse of scripture read slowly. I will give you a new heart. Those words are not only for those who have wandered far away. They are for anyone who feels that their heart has grown hard, too weary to love, too busy to feel, too wounded to hope. I can soften what has become calloused within you. I can bring life back to the places you thought had died. But you must make room for me. Do not fill every moment with noise. Do not run from silence simply because, in silence, you must face yourself. In that silence, you will not be abandoned. You will meet again the truest part of who you are. There is something I want you to understand. Today does not need to become a great day in order to have meaning. You do not need to do something the entire world will notice. You do not need to solve every burden weighing upon your heart. You only need to be faithful with the small thing before you. If today you can be a little more patient, that is already a victory. If today you can refuse to answer hurt with hurt, that is already a quiet miracle. If today you can sit beside someone you love and truly listen to them, that is already a homecoming. If today you can say to yourself, I am still worthy of love, that too is a step into the light. Do not measure your day only by the things you have accomplished. Look instead at the seeds you have sown in the hearts of others, within your family, and within yourself. Some seeds take a very long time before they become trees, but that does not make them useless. The one who plants does not always see the harvest, but I do. I see every time you choose what is good when no one is watching. I see every time you swallow your tears so that you will not say words that wound another person. I see every time you rise again after believing you could not possibly stand up one more time. So do not let tomorrow become the place where you send all the kindness you could offer today. Do not imprison words of love inside your heart simply because you feel shy. Do not let pain continue because you are afraid to seek help. Do not let faith grow cold because you are waiting for some great sign. Sometimes the sign is simply that you are still here, still able to be moved, still wanting to become better. Sometimes the answer you seek is found in the life still flowing through you, in sunlight falling through the window, in the voice of someone you love, in an unexpected sentence that makes you pause, in the fact that your heart still longs for peace. As long as you still desire peace, the door has not yet closed. As long as you still desire to love, your heart has not died. As long as you can still feel regret, your conscience is still trying to lead you home. And if tonight you find yourself weak again, wanting to leave everything until tomorrow, I do not condemn you. I only want you to remember that you are not fighting alone. Place your hand upon your chest, where your heart is still beating, and realize that you have already walked through so many days you once believed you could never survive. You have lived through sorrows that made you think you would shatter into pieces. You have risen after moments when it seemed every door had closed. You have carried many things that perhaps no one else will ever fully understand. Yet you are still here, and because you are still here, today is still a gift. Do not take that gift lightly. Open it with one small act of love, with one sincere prayer, with one decision to return to what is right. I do not need you to become perfect before you come near the light. I only need you not to turn your back on the light when it is calling your name. Walk forward, my beloved child. You do not need to walk quickly. You do not need to make noise. You only need to walk. And every small step you take in love will lead you out of the things you once believed you could never overcome. And then, when you have heard that call within your heart, perhaps you may still sit quietly for a long time, like someone standing before an old door whose hand does not yet have the courage to open it. I understand your hesitation. Some doors are not locked by others, but by the very fears you have fed for too long. You fear that behind them there will be tears. You fear that if you open them, you will have to face the truth about yourself, that you have been wounded, that you have lost your way, that you have spoken words you cannot take back, that you have turned away from things your heart knew were right. But my beloved child, I do not ask you to open that door so that you may be condemned. I want you to know that there is no room in your soul too dark for light to enter, even in the place you hide most carefully, the place you do not want anyone to see, the place where you once believed you had to live alone with your pain. I am still standing there. I do not knock with accusation. I do not call with anger. I wait for you with a love more enduring than your weakness. Do not be afraid to be honest. Truth may make your eyes sting, but it is also the first stream of water that washes away what has made your heart so heavy. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You were not born to be a prisoner of your past. You were born to step out, to breathe again, to see the sky you once thought you no longer deserved to behold. Perhaps today, you are still carrying something unspoken within you, an apology caught in your throat, a forgiveness you believe you cannot yet offer, a dream you buried because you were afraid of being laughed at, a phone call you keep delaying because you do not know how to begin. You know it is there within you, like a stone resting in your chest, making your heart feel heavy even when you smile, drawing itself back into your silence whenever night falls. I do not force you to do everything at once, but I ask you not to continue pretending that the stone does not exist. What you refuse to face will quietly grow. What you postpone for too long will slowly become distance. And sometimes it is not because others no longer love you, but because you have allowed too many days to pass without daring to walk toward them. Remember Zacchaeus, the small tax collector who climbed a tree simply to see Jesus pass by. Perhaps he never thought his name would be called. Perhaps he only wanted to stand at a distance, observing without being noticed. But Jesus stopped, looked up, and said, "Zacchaeus, come down at once." That moment changed an entire life. My child, sometimes I am calling you down from the tree of avoidance, from the place where you stand far away, so that you do not have to touch what is real. Not to shame you, but so that I may enter your home. Enter the very place in your heart where no one has visited for far too long. I know you often think you must wait until everything is better before you can return. You say to me, when you have earned enough money, when your family is under less pressure, when your heart hurts less, when you are no longer angry, when you are less busy, when you become better, when you no longer have questions that leave you confused. But I want to tell you that peace does not always come before you return. Often, returning is what opens the way for peace. You do not need to make your heart clean before coming near me. You do not need to correct every mistake before you dare to pray. You do not need to become someone else before you are worthy of love. I want you to come, especially when you are at your most confused. I want you to lift your head, especially when your tears have not yet dried. I want you to remember, especially when you feel weakest, that my grace is sufficient for you. Come to me as you truly are, without hiding, without decorating yourself, without wearing the strong face you have grown tired of holding before everyone else. I do not love an image you struggle to create. I love you, even when you are trembling, even when you have lost your way, even when you do not yet know how to keep moving forward. There are people in your life who are waiting for a sign from you. Though you may not know it, perhaps they do not say it aloud. Perhaps they still smile, still reply with brief messages, still appear as though everything is fine. But deep within, they are longing for one simple question: are you okay? Someone may be so exhausted that merely having another person sit beside them would be enough to make them feel they have not been abandoned. Someone may be carrying a secret that makes them believe the whole world would turn away if it were known. Someone may be fighting just to get through a single day. While no one knows how fiercely they have had to struggle, do not measure another person's pain only by the appearance they wear. A calm face may conceal a battle. Someone who is always helping others may be the one who needs to be held. Someone who laughs often may be desperate because they believe no one cares enough to ask how they truly are. So today, when your heart is reminded of someone, do not quickly dismiss it. Perhaps I want to use you as a small flame in the cold night of their life. You do not need a long speech. You do not need perfect words. You only need to be present with sincerity. You only need to say, "I have been thinking of you." You only need to listen without judgment. This too is how my love touches the world. Yet before you can become peace for someone else, you must learn to let me become peace within you. You have become too accustomed to running from memories, running from loneliness, running from the feeling that you are not enough, running from the voice inside that asks what you are living for. You have kept yourself so busy that you can no longer hear your own soul crying out in weariness. But my beloved child, not every silence is frightening. There are quiet spaces where I heal what the world has cracked within you. There are evenings when you do not need to prove anything, answer anyone, or be the strong one. You only need to sit still. Place your hand upon your chest. Breathe slowly. And remember that you are still being held. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you no longer know who you are among so many roles, so much pressure, so many demanding eyes, return to those words. You are not merely someone who must succeed, someone who must carry everything, someone who must make everyone happy. You are a soul that is loved, a child learning how to walk, a person who still has the right to make mistakes, the right to be tired, and the right to begin again. Do not allow old failures to become prophecies over your future. Perhaps you have missed many things. Perhaps you did not recognize someone's value until they had gone away. Perhaps you turned down an opportunity because you were afraid. Perhaps you once chose the easier road, and now you carry regret. But do not look at those cracks and say that your life is ruined. I can still write upon pages you thought had been torn away. I can still make a garden bloom upon land that has been trampled, just as Joseph was sold by his brothers, falsely accused, and imprisoned in darkness. Yet in the end, what others meant to use to harm him became the path that led him to a place where he could save many lives. You do not need to understand every reason you have had to walk through painful days, but trust that pain is not the final voice. Some seeds must lie deep in the ground for a long time before they rise to meet the light. Some winters seem as though they will never end. Yet winter itself is quietly preparing the way for spring. Do not give up simply because you have not yet seen the flowers bloom. Perhaps the roots are growing in darkness where you cannot yet see them. I want you to remember that time is not your enemy, but neither is time something you should treat lightly. Every morning is a gift, not because you are guaranteed that everything will be perfect, but because you are given one more chance to choose what is right. You do not need to do anything extraordinary in order for today to carry meaning. Perhaps the meaning of today is simply that you do not answer a cruel word with another cruel word. Perhaps it is being more patient with someone you love. Perhaps it is pausing before making a decision in anger. Perhaps it is putting your phone down so that you can truly look into the eyes of the person speaking to you. Perhaps it is giving yourself a nourishing meal, enough sleep, or a prayer before you rest. Do not underestimate small choices. Those small things quietly shape an entire life. A single drop of water does not create a river in one day, but drops that continue to fall will soften even dry ground. One word of love will not save the whole world in a moment, but it can save a heart from believing it is completely alone. And when you think of tomorrow, I do not want you to look at it with panic. Do not say, "If I cannot do it today, everything will be lost." I am not one who counts your mistakes, waiting for a reason to turn away from you. But neither do I want you to use my mercy as an excuse to remain asleep. I want you to be awake, because life is precious. I want you to cherish the person beside you, because no one knows who will still be able to sit beside whom tomorrow. I want you to say thank you while you still can. I want you to apologize while there is still time to mend what is broken. I want you to love while your heart can still be moved. Some lives do not fall apart because of one great disaster, but because of countless small moments that were overlooked. A father who is never listened to, a mother who is never thanked, a friend who is always told. Another time, a child who grows up feeling that they must always wait for the attention of adults. Do not let the love within you exist only as an intention. Love needs an action, an embrace, a presence, a specific choice made today. If you are thinking of someone you have not contacted for a long time, let your heart soften. Perhaps there are misunderstandings between you that have not yet been resolved. Perhaps there are wounds that both of you are afraid to touch. You do not need to force yourself to act as though you were never hurt. You do not need to deny what happened. But you can begin with a small opening, a greeting, a question, a simple confession that says, "I do not know where this will lead us, but I do not want to keep this silence forever." Sometimes reconciliation does not begin when everything is resolved at once. It begins when one person is brave enough to stop building more walls. You may not be able to control how the other person responds, but you can choose not to let your heart remain imprisoned by hatred. Forgiveness does not mean that you are saying what they did was right. Forgiveness means that you refuse to let what they did continue ruling your life. Place justice in my hands and step out of the cage resentment has built within your heart. There will still be days when you feel weak, perhaps even after hearing these words. You will delay again. You will fear again. You will allow another day to pass without doing what your heart knows needs to be done. When that happens, do not turn against yourself in hatred. Turn back to me. I do not abandon you simply because you are learning slowly. A child learning to walk will fall many times, but a loving father does not tell that child never to take another step. I will lift you up. I will wipe the dust from your knees. I will remind you that you have not failed simply because you have fallen. What matters is not that you have never been late, but that you do not remain forever in that delay. Let every moment you realize you have fallen out of step become a moment of return. Let every regret become an invitation to live more deeply. Let every wound become a place where you learn to be gentle with others who carry wounds like your own. So, my beloved child, when you hear the voice within you saying that it is time to live differently, do not silence it. When a good deed appears before your eyes, do not pretend that you do not see it. When I place within your heart the desire to return, the desire to love, the desire to repair what has been broken, the desire to live more truthfully, do not quickly say that tomorrow will be better than today. Today has its own light. Today has its own open door. Today there is someone who needs you, something you need to release, a word you need to speak, a step you need to take, and no matter how small that step may be, I will see it. I will walk with you through every step, not with loudness, but with a gentle presence like the morning breeze. You do not need to see the whole road. You only need to trust that when you walk in love, you will not walk alone. For I am still here, still calling you, still waiting for you, still opening my arms wide, not to make you afraid that you have been late, but to let you know that every moment you return can become the beginning of something new and more beautiful. Therefore, when you realize that I have been beside you for so long on that road, do not think that your journey must suddenly become easy. My presence is not measured by the absence of trials. It is known by the truth that, in the midst of trials, you no longer have to walk alone. Like a shepherd who goes ahead to find a way through the narrow rocks, I go before you. Sometimes you cannot see my footsteps because tears have blurred your eyes. Sometimes you cannot hear my voice because your heart is filled with too many voices of fear. So, my voice has not gone far away. It returns gently, like a breath touching the flame of a trembling candle, reminding you not to let go today simply because you cannot yet see tomorrow's dawn. If you are standing in a long night, remember the words once whispered in the Psalms, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." You do not need to pretend to be strong before me. Simply tell me that you are tired, that you are afraid, that you do not understand. One honest word in the darkness is more precious than 100 beautiful words that your heart does not truly feel. There will be times when you look back at yourself and see past seasons as closed rooms. You may ask, if only I had not let that moment pass, if only I had listened to the calling sooner. I understand that question. But, my beloved child, I do not want you to become a prisoner of the words, if only. What is past cannot return in exactly the same form. Yet the human heart can still be renewed, even in ruined places. New shoots can rise. Did I not speak through the prophet Isaiah? Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? That new thing does not always erase the past. More often, it gives you a new heart through which to see the past in a different light. A scar no longer tells only a story of pain. It also proves that you survived. Tears no longer speak only of loss. They also show that your heart still knows how to love. Therefore, instead of looking back to blame yourself, look back and understand that the very days you believed had ruined everything may become the place where I teach you to be gentle with those who have lost their way. From that, you will also understand why I still call you in the smallest things. I do not meet you only in grand moments, where light shines brightly and everyone turns to look. I meet you when you bend down to pick up something another person has dropped, when you give the better portion to someone you love, when you do not answer a harsh word with another harsh word, when you are patient with someone who moves more slowly than you, when you sit beside someone who is sad without rushing to offer advice. There are seeds of the kingdom of heaven sown in moments like these. The world may not call them great, but I see them. I see you still choosing to help and to preserve peace within your home. I see you quietly praying for someone who once hurt you. And I tell you that no true act of love is ever forgotten. As Jesus once said, "Whoever gives one of these little ones even a cup of cold water to drink will certainly not lose their reward." A cup of cold water may seem like a very small thing, but to a thirsty heart, it can become a sign that mercy still remains in this world. And when you begin to live this way, you will realize that time is no longer an enemy standing behind you, urging you forward. Time becomes a gift that allows you to be present. You have passed through many meals and many familiar faces without truly listening or truly seeing. Your body may be in one place, while your mind is pulled away by hundreds of things that have not yet happened. But I placed you in today for a reason. Today, there is a laugh, a face that you need to receive with gratitude. Today, There is a flower by the roadside, a breeze by the window, a ray of sunlight on the floor, reminding you that life is still quietly blessing you. Do not let your heart live only in tomorrow and lose the beauty of this present moment. Jesus taught, "Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself." These words do not mean that you should live irresponsibly. They mean that you must not surrender your whole soul to things that have not yet come. Do what needs to be done today with an awakened heart, and leave tomorrow in my hands. Many blessings are already present in the breath you receive, and in the person waiting for a kind word from you. If your heart is uncertain before a decision, do not seek my voice in commotion. What is right does not always make you feel excited. Sometimes, what is right asks you to lay down your pride, to slow down, or to accept a loss that is visible only for the moment. But my peace is deeper than temporary comfort. Ask yourself this in your heart: which choice will make you more loving, more truthful, and closer to what is good? Which choice will not merely help you win for a moment, but allow your soul to lift its face in peace at night when you do not know where to go? Do not be afraid to stop. Waiting in me is like soil being plowed before the seed is sown. Just as a farmer cannot pull up a young sprout to make it grow faster, you do not need to force every answer. Be faithful in the small things you already know, and the light will be enough for the next step. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. The psalm says, "A lamp shines only far enough to keep you from stumbling over what lies directly ahead." Do not despise the step it reveals. Therefore, let today become an answer, not merely a promise. Do not say that you will live better when the perfect time arrives. The perfect time rarely knocks at the door, yet grace is standing before you in this very moment. Begin with what you can do. Send a kind message. Look into the eyes of the person beside you. Bring order to one chaotic corner of your life. Or sit quietly and say to me, "I do not know what to do, but I do not want to run away anymore." I hear those words. I do not despise a broken heart. I do not grow weary when you return again and again. Like the father in the parable, who keeps watching the distant road, I too look toward you. But, my beloved child, take a step. Do not let fear keep you standing at the threshold of a new life. When tonight comes to an end, the world may still not have changed in the way you hoped. But if today you chose not to ignore the call of love, something sacred has already begun. That seed, if you water it with sincerity, prayer, and small acts each day, will grow into shade for you and for many others. Love while you still have the chance to love. Speak while you still have the chance to speak. Return while your heart can still hear the calling. And when you step into tomorrow, you will carry the peace of one who answered love when it knocked at the door. Even if tomorrow brings trials that have not yet been named, do not live in regret. I will teach you to cherish the moment you have been given, to care for the person beside you, and to begin with a humble, pure heart that does not delay doing good each day. And from the field where the seeds you have sown in faith begin to bloom, I want you to look more closely at every small flower, because they did not appear overnight. There are things you do today that may seem unnoticed, unrecognized, and unable to create any great echo in this life. Yet, I still see them. I see the moment you swallow back an angry word so that you will not hurt another person. I see when you are tired but still choose to speak kindly. I see when you sit with your own sadness instead of running toward things that leave your heart even emptier. I see when you try to return after a day that was not fully lived. Do not think that only great deeds can be called faith. Sometimes faith is simply opening your eyes in the morning, washing your face, getting out of bed, and still believing that today can be different even when yesterday has left you exhausted. That too is an answer. That too is a candle. And when you keep that candle from going out, even when the wind blows, I will use that small light to lead you through paths you once believed you could never cross. There is something you must remember deeply in your heart. You were not born merely to exist, merely to run from one task to another, merely to count what you lack and grieve over what others possess. I placed within you a measure of light that no one else can ever completely copy. Perhaps you have not seen it because you have grown used to looking at all the things you have not yet been able to do. Perhaps you have allowed the criticism of others to cover the calling within your heart. Perhaps you once lived in a place that made you shrink yourself in order to be accepted. But the light within you is still there. It may be covered with dust, forgotten, or trembling like a lamp in a rainy night, but it has not been lost. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome that light. I did not place you in this world so that you would forever believe that you are meaningless. I placed you here so that, in your own way, you may soothe the pain, lift someone who has fallen, bring peace into a room filled with tension, or simply live so truthfully that others look at you and feel that they too can hope. Do not let the rush of the world steal from you the ability to notice the sacred things happening so close by. You often wait for a great sign, a wide open door, clear, good news, a miracle that makes every doubt disappear. But many times, I come to you through things so ordinary that you do not recognize me. I am in the sound of birds in the morning when your heart still feels heavy. I am in a meal where everyone has enough to sit together. I am in the calloused hands of a father who quietly continues to work for his family. I am in your mother's gray hair, in her tired eyes that still wait for you to return. I am in the stranger who gives you a seat, in a timely question of concern, in an afternoon when your heart suddenly grows gentle and you do not know why. Some graces do not knock with a loud sound. They simply sit quietly beside you, waiting for you to become less busy and notice them. Therefore, do not let today pass without lifting your eyes, even once. Do not let your mind be carried so far away by things that have not yet come that you forget the beauty already resting in the palm of your hand. So when these words come to an end, do not simply place them in some corner of your mind as a beautiful sound and then forget them. Let them become a step. Let them lead you toward a good deed you have delayed, a word of love you have not spoken, a conversation you need to begin, or a prayer you have neglected for too long. Do not wait until you are perfect before living better. Do not wait until every fear has disappeared before daring to move forward. Do not wait until the whole world understands you before living faithfully according to the goodness within your heart. Begin while you are still trembling. Love while you are still learning how to heal. Return while you still have many questions. For today is not merely a day for you to pass through. Today is a gift opening before your eyes. And within that gift, I place a gentle reminder: you still have time to do what is right. You still have opportunities to love. And you still have light to keep walking. Do not miss it. Take hold of today with an awakened heart, because from the choices you make today, a more peaceful tomorrow is quietly being formed. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.